right now. You're on.
Okay, is it live? Do you hear me correctly?
Yes.
Okay, wonderful. Sorry. Hi, everyone. We've been running through some technical issues. So good afternoon and welcome. This is our first virtual edition of the Africa Fintech Summit. And my name is Rina Kekon, and it's an honor for me to be a moderator on this first day of the summit dedicated to the fintech by region. For this panel, we're going to discuss West Africa region, and we have distinguished group of experts, including successful startups with Jumo joining, and leading banks with EcoBank, and a policymaker with the central bank. Hopefully, we'll all be able to connect in a little bit. So, as a matter of introduction, I want to share how much passionate I am about the African tech space. It has been drawing increasing attention over the past few years, as it is recognized as heavily contributing to the transformation of the African economy. Leading serial entrepreneurs, which you'll hear throughout the summit, including Jack Dorsey, acknowledge tech innovation in Africa and have been vocal along with Jack Ma about their willingness to contribute to accelerate this digital transformation and partner with local companies and governments to continue to explore this incredible culture of entrepreneurship here in Africa. So in 2019 was, another year of smashing records with $2 billion raised, for example, just in equity. Although it's still relatively small compared to other markets, it is definitely the fastest growing market, led by, as you know, South Africa, Kenya, and Nigeria. But in West Africa, we see also an increasing market share taken by Senegal, Ghana, Cote d'Ivoire, and many other countries in West Africa. And recent deals, in 2019, despite COVID-19, many very interesting strategic partnerships, as well as M&A, IPOs in 2018, 2019, were all viewed by some of the market leaders are, a very sort of confidence vote into the region tech innovation. There are more and more tech VCs, for example, focused on Africa, more than 15, I think, and then, burgeoning tech hubs, over 400 tech hubs here. So, of course, when we talk about digitalization, we consider as well the high growth of internet, which is incredible in Africa and which has helped the transformation and really speaks to this movement and trend of online to offline way of doing business, and how policymakers across the regions, between East and West Africa, for example, with some very notable partnerships between Rwanda and Senegal, which were announced last year. Also regional partnerships led by the central bank, or some very important economic and trade agreements that were passed, like the economic community in Western African states. And then, of course, the African Continental Free Trade Agreements. So if we look, we zoom in a little bit more about fintech that we want to speak about today, we see that West African startup space has grown, leaps and bounds. Fintech company in West Africa have made up to 35% of what we call the millionaire West African startups. So fintech is definitely a large chunk of the successful companies and in Africa, and the sector is definitely booming because it responds to some of the challenges faced currently. And so this, this conversation will be around Africa increasing online commerce growth, the offline to online payment trend, and how potentially the COVID-19 has accelerated this trend, how the expansion of internet access has accelerated this trend. And then, discussing as well some of the hurdles related maybe to the currency, different currency in different countries, and also what was discussed heavily also over the year, made a lot of noise because of Facebook Libra, for example, and how we could make a universal currency, which is a topic that has been discussed a lot in Africa, and how to make payments and how to go across these difficulties created by so many different currencies, and also so many unbanked people here in Africa that do not have equal access to financial services or banking services, and how that all plays out, and how different institutions, with whether government institution, whether corporate side institution, the civil society is engaging in those discussions. And then when we talk about technology and different types of customers, different types of markets, different types of challenges that may be faced in those different markets, we definitely talk about technology adoption by some of the unsophisticated customers, and then also the need to build trust here, to protect against fraud, to build credibility, to address any risk of intermittent internet shutdown that we've seen over the past few years, any concern that we may have around data privacy, all those questions that now it's time for me to turn to our esteemed speakers, and see if any of the technical issues were cleared. Hello? So if we can start with a quick round of introduction of our speakers. I'll say about 2 to 3 minutes for each speakers. And what I would like to ask you is, of course, to present your organization, your role within the organization, and the place it has, particularly in the West African region, and then identify, one critical achievement, one critical challenge, and one transformative opportunity you see today in the West Africa fintech sector. Of course, by no means we're trying to cover all the subject, but just as a matter of introduction, if you can share a few words. We'll turn maybe to Jeba, if you can turn your micro on. I'll reach out. Any of the speakers be able to start off with the intro? All right, that's what comes when you start first. You don't know how the virtual platform impacts the audience and the speakers. So if Jeba is not able to to connect the speakers. Perhaps Bema could share a few words.
Hello.
Okay, we'll go to Ndeye and
Hello.
see if this was representing the central bank.
Hello, I think that Bema is trying to talk. Did you hear me correctly?
I do hear you, and if you want to start by introducing yourself, your organization, and share a few words about fintech. Please go.
Thank you very much. My name is Leifatu Dieng. I'm Deputy Director in the Financial Inclusion at the BCAO. Maybe if other panelists can mute their mics, we can have a better flow. Yes, thank you very much. So I'm Deputy Director Financial Inclusion at the Central Bank of West African States. I have like almost 20 years in the central bank in financial sector supervision of microfinance institution. And since 2018, we have a new department aiming at boosting financial inclusion in the region. What is made me particularly for this session relevant maybe is because I am chairing the work groups implementing the interoperability project in the region. So that's a big project, as you can say, regarding your introduction to the state of play. The digital finance ecosystem is growing very fast in the West African region, and the central bank wanted to support the development, and we are conducting the interoperability project to do so. So for introduction, that's what I wanted to share with you guys. Thank you.
Well, thank you so much. You know, like that's an important role, and that's what we want to explore during this conversation is how does all plays out together in the region, and how the collaboration for economic growth and digital transformation across the board is going through, and what we see for the near future. So do we have, I think we have Bema who was able to now connect. Bema, can you share a quick intro about your company, your role, and any critical achievement, critical challenge, or transformative opportunity you see in the West African fintech space?
Sure. Can you hear me? Hello? Can you hear me? Hello?
Yes.
Oh, you can hear me?
We don't hear you, Bema. Yes, I'm sorry.
I hear you.
But I don't think we are hearing Bema from Jumo, who's trying to speak.
Hello, Fado, could you hear me? Okay, so some people can hear me.
Yes, correctly.
On the chat. Okay, perfect. So my name is Bema Kone. I'm currently working as a country manager for Jumo in Côte d'Ivoire. So just a bit about Jumo. So Jumo is a full technology stack.
Bema, we do not hear you.
I can see in the chat some people are hearing me.
Okay. Bema, I think we do not hear you, unfortunately. Well, I do not hear you then. Maybe are the others?
So then I'll continue since people are hearing me. So Jumo is a full technology stack used for building and running financial services. And our stack is composed of an advanced data engine, an end-to-end banking technology, which is a clearly replicates of any core banking for any bank. And our stack is also composed of a flexible operating platform. So how we do what we do. So we partner with financial service providers who bring the capital and the regulatory licenses, and also with mobile network operators who have a customer base. Okay. So in terms of products, we have a couple of products in the different markets where we operate. But the most common product we use is what we call Access, which is a single repayment loan that the customer need to take and repay at the end of the term. So usually the term is 30 days maximum. In terms of presence, we are currently live in 6 markets across Africa and Asia. We are live in Tanzania, Uganda, Zambia, Kenya, and Ghana in Africa, and Pakistan in Asia. Our footprint in West Africa will soon grow, with Cote d'Ivoire going live very soon. And also, we are currently looking at expanding in other markets in Central Africa and also in West Africa. In terms of fintech, West Africa, and financial inclusion, I just want to say that the future has a positive outlook. Okay, fintech in West Africa has been contributing to financial inclusion, and in 2018, for instance, just quoting some figures from a recent BCR publication. When you look at the street banking penetration rate, we just take into consideration those people who have bank accounts. In 2018, it was sitting at 19%. Okay. When you look at the extending banking penetration rate, which takes into consideration those who have a bank accounts with a bank, plus those who have a bank account with microfinance, we currently have a penetration rate of 41%. So when you look at the financial inclusion rate itself, okay, i.e. take into consideration those who have a bank account, those who have a microfinance account, and those now who have a mobile money account, the penetration rate is at 57%. So clearly, we can see that all the fintech companies have a positive impact on the financial inclusion in the West African region. And I'm very confident that the future is definitely promising for fintech companies in the region. So that's all for myself in terms of introduction. Rena, are you here?
So we will continue, and Jeba, if you can please introduce yourself as well.
Jeba is speaking, but we are not hearing her. Maybe technical issues. Rena, can you unmute yourself?
So Jeba, can you continue the presentation, the introduction? Okay, so I think Jeba will try to join us back. And since we have 2 speakers here that can actually connect, we'll just jump right in and ask the first few questions. So one of the first questions I had was for Bema. So online commerce is growing at a rapid pace every year in West Africa. And can you describe a little bit the role you're playing with local and international enterprise and their customers? How exactly you're offering services to this population? And of course, we would like to know whether the COVID pandemic is accelerating the digitalization and increasing market shares. So please go ahead. We'll be happy to hear about Jumo.
Okay.
If you can focus on Cote d'Ivoire, will be great as well.
Yeah, sure. Okay. So thank you, Rena. I hope that now you hear me. That's a very good question. Okay. But I just want to center back to how Jumo does things. Okay. So Jumo always has a customer-centric approach, and we always try to ensure that we are answering the needs of our customer by providing the right product fits. Okay. But in delivering that big mission, okay, we don't work alone. We work with financial service providers who have a balance sheet again and who have a licenses to operate as a banking. And also we work with mobile network operators who have a customer base. So based on our experience in different markets, 6 out of 10 of our customers are micro, small, and medium enterprises. So roughly 60% of our customer base are entrepreneurs. So entrepreneurs, very important to notice that, or to highlight it. Entrepreneurs in West Africa, in the informal sector, contribute on average to 60% of the GDP in the region. Okay, but only 15% of them have access to loans as a source of financing. But the question now that comes naturally to mind is the 85%, how do they get funding to grow their business? Okay, so they usually go to a family member to take a loan. They use their savings, or some others they just inherit from their parents, or it just mainly profit generated from their own business or own equity. Okay, so only 50% of those people, of those entrepreneurs, can have access to a bank and have access to a loan. So what Jumo is proposing is to help those entrepreneurs who are missing the financing needed to grow their own businesses. And how we do that, we use the digital footprint to better understand their risk profile. Okay, so our approach and product is very USSD driven. We don't use any application. And again, we try to always adopt a very customer centric approach. Okay, so back to your question. So Jumo is not a payments company. We are a technology company. So we are here to make sure that we are able to build and run financial services, and we do that by working with our partners who are the financial service providers and the mobile network operators.
Rena, Bema just finished answering your question. And you can unmute yourself, please. Rena, please, can you unmute yourself? We are not hearing you. At least at my side, I am not hearing you.
Same here, I cannot hear you too.
Hello, can someone hear me?
Yeah,
Okay.
I hear you well, but I'm not hearing Rena.
Okay, I think Rena is having issue, but she's back. Rena, can you hear us?
Jiba, yes, we can hear you.
Maybe while, can you still hear me? Maybe while Rena is joining back, I do a quick introduction.
Yes, Jiba, go ahead with your presentation.
Hello?
Yes, go ahead with your presentation, Jiba.
Is it okay for you?
Yes.
Okay, so I'm Jiba Jallo. I'm the senior fintech advisor for EcoBank. And my role in a nutshell is to accelerate and to facilitate partnerships between EcoBank and fintechs in general. My role is based on three main pillars. The first one is the EcoBank Fintech Challenge, which is a competition that we are running every year, where we invite fintechs to submit ideas that they believe. Sorry, so the solutions or innovations that they believe could bring some value to customers and users across Africa. The second pillar is to identify big techs or very big profile companies in Africa all over the world to build strong partnerships, mostly on a win-win basis to see how we can integrate our services and bring more innovations to our customers. And the third pillar is to help EcoBank become a bank as a platform where we make it easier for stakeholders such as fintechs to do integration with us. One way of doing that, for example, is that we recently launched our EcoBank Pan-African Sandbox, where we are bringing our APIs and make them available for fintechs and other partners to be able to access our APIs and integrate with our services to bring more solutions to African customers. So talking about the critical achievement that we've been able to to get into during the past month. I think the one that we are very proud of is the sandbox, because it means now that we move from timeline of spending months talking with fintechs for integration to only few weeks. Critical challenges that we are facing very often is when we are having discussions with regulators, either on the internal and external standpoint. And we strongly believe that there's a big need or the big demand on digitization for customers in Africa, because we all agree on the fact that mobile adoption is one of the highest in the continent. And when we see the example of what happened with M-Pesa in East Africa, I think it's a very strong sign that the demand is there. And I believe as financial institutions, we need to accommodate and make sure that we bring the best of solution to the customers that we have in the continent. So I'll stop there. Thank you very much for having me, and I'm looking forward for the next steps.
Well, thank you so much, Jib. I think also good news, some of the technical issues are now cleared. So we can continue with the rest of the questions. And actually I just want to dig deeper in your final comment on some of the great achievements and also the mobile money culture that was born in East Africa and now coming more increasingly, more importantly, in West Africa. And just like talking that through, if you can tell me about the West African framework and walk us through how that was made possible to integrate that market, to tap into that market, and particularly describe the intersection of bank and telco regulation. I have in mind the Nigeria example, but please, if you feel free to describe Senegal or any other country in terms of the challenges faced and what remains in terms of challenges.
The question was for me, Rena?
Yes. For Jeba.
Okay.
For
Thank you. For Jeba, okay.
But you can comment as well. I think it's relevant also for the central bank to comment on this as well. So please go ahead.
I will complete after Jeba, please, if you don't mind.
That works too.
Actually, sorry, please go ahead because I didn't hear the question.
Okay, let's
go ahead so that I'll have time to understand the topic. I'm still having connection.
I'm happy to repeat. I was just building on what you were saying about mobile money culture and how mobile money culture is already very embedded.
I'm sorry, now. Sorry, I still can't hear you.
Can you hear me?
Yes, now I can.
Okay, wonderful. I was saying that the mobile money culture is well embedded into the regulatory framework of in East Africa, and was wondering how that was challenging and still may be challenging in the context of West Africa, particularly if there is any tensions between telco regulation and banking regulation, or if on the contrary, regulators and sectors are working together to make mobile money a success and easy for companies also to develop.
Okay, so first of all, if you don't mind, I will turn off my camera because it seems that that's where the issue is coming from. Can you hear me better now?
Perfect for me.
Okay, so if I'm right, if I got it right, the question is around regulations, how we can partner both bank, telcos, and regulators to drive more financial inclusion. Am I correct? Hello? Hello? Can someone else hear me?
She was saying yes to go on, but I don't know if.
Okay.
Yeah,
Okay,
you
so
can
I
go
just, can you hear me? If you can hear me, okay, that's
very
fine.
well. Yeah,
That's
you
okay.
can go on. Yeah.
I think that the West African region is quite particular because out of Nigeria, Ghana, and some other small countries, maybe not small, but other countries such as Guinea, etc., the fact that we have a regional a regulator that is managing countries, if I'm correct, means that it's a good opportunity. Daifatu, you will correct me if I'm wrong. But it's a good opportunity actually because it makes it easier for companies, be it bank or telcos or even fintechs, to have a kind of common framework when it comes to or when it goes to targeting customers in the region. Because one of the big issue that organizations are having is that the African market is a wide and a very big one. West Africa is a very interesting one because of the population. But when you move from a country to another, you have to deal with different constraints, different regulations, different realities, and it's always very difficult for an organization to adapt themselves and make sure that they provide the same level of services from a country to another. So having an institution such as the BCAO makes it easier for institutions, to have a kind of common framework and target many countries at the same time. So it's also a very good opportunity for fintechs. So Nigeria is quite popular because from my knowledge, there are still some discussions happening with regulators on, being for telcos to be able to provide mobile money services and wallet to their customers. But from my knowledge, it's a very interesting because despite that difficulty, we see many fintechs actually, providing very interesting services. Despite that kind of issue or discussions that is still ongoing, and that's a very good opportunity for them. So I would say very interesting region, West Africa, because of the fact that we have a central bank regulating many countries. But at the same time, Nigeria is one of the biggest markets. So for the companies that are in Nigeria, it's a good opportunity. But as soon as you want to get out of that country, it's another discussion that may be a bit difficult. On EcoBank side, we are leveraging the fact that we have a very strong partnership with the BCAO to provide very innovative services in many countries. But Nigeria is a different case. And I believe if we can compare Nigeria and Ghana, despite the fact that Nigeria is definitely a bigger market, it seems that on a regulatory standpoint, Ghana is kind of ahead, which makes it a very exciting market. I mean, in terms of possibility, even if the market size, of course, is not comparable to Nigeria. So I'll stop there, and Daifatu, please feel free to add more.
Thank you very much, Giba, for highlighting the growth of digital financial services. In the BCAO side, what I wanted to highlight is that since 2006, we had a regulatory framework for digital financial services, and that regulatory framework had been enhanced in 2015. And the main innovation was to allow like non-financial institution to be able to issue electronic e-money. And within that permission, we have seen tremendous growth in financial services, but in terms of access, usage, but in terms of penetration in rural area and remote ones. So the regulatory framework enable parties such as mobile money issuers to offer to provide financial services. The other part of the question was, do we have challenge collaborating with telecom regulator? Of course, we identify some of challenges, and relating to our interoperability project, we set up a frame to interact with this regulator, because we need to ensure quality of the service. We need to tackle, because we are remote area our target, but internet is not everywhere in our 8 countries. So financial service largely will be driven by USDD. So the collaboration and the participation of the telecom regulator has been identified as the necessary means to tackle in order to reach our objective. So collaboration is key between all stakeholders, but also between regulators such as the telecom regulator and the financial sector regulator. And as a state of play, the last statistics we have shown that we have 39 mobile money in the region, in the 8 countries, West African 8 countries. We have 39 mobile money issuers, more than 600 of microfinance institutions. 2 only provides digital financial services. And in terms of volume, we have 2.6 billion of transaction, and estimate at 52 billion US dollar as of end of 2019. So we think that with more friendly environment, this volume will be enhanced in the coming years after we launch our interoperability project, to add to the comment of Jiba. Thank you.
Thank you very much, and thank you for sharing also the numbers.
Rena, hand over to you the mic.
Yes, thank you. Okay, great. Can you hear me now? Okay, great. So thank you. Yeah, we do see there is a lot of tractions for this new technologies. And so I'd like to ask the last question to Bema, the last question to Bema, just to see how you're taking into account financial inclusion in the solution that you're proposing as a more corporate side.
Hello, can you hear me? So what's the question again? I missed the last part of your question.
Yeah, my question was regarding financial inclusion, how your solutions are helping achieve this goal.
Okay. So there's one way we do that. Just as a reminder again, Jumo is a technology company. Okay, so we get into a tripartite sort of collaboration to deliver this objective, of improving financial inclusion in the markets where we do operate. Okay, so we have some financial inclusion imperatives, which at Jumo we call customer operating principles. Okay, so there are 5 of them. The first one is access and inclusion. So we try always to make sure that the process we are using is non-discriminatory and transparent, and that at the same time we prevent customer for over indebtedness. Okay. The second principle that we follow is to build a sustainable ecosystem, and we do that by strictly adhering to all the local regulations. Okay. So as Ndefatu was saying, there are some regulations already in place, and we always try to partner with the banks who have a good standing in the country where we go to, and also who adhere to all the local regulations. The third principle is choice and empowerment. Okay, So we want to offer to customers choices that before we couldn't have access to, and make sure that these choices, these new choices, can empower them, in taking ownership of their own life. The fourth principle is financial value. So we always try to make sure that any customers that take a loan on the platform or Jumo platform gets an appropriate pricing with respect to his risk profile. And the fifth and last principle is making sure that any data that we get from the customer is only used to enhance and improve his experience with our product and platform. So it just ties back to a point that Indefatu was speaking earlier, on making sure that all the stakeholders in the environment are part of the discussion. So that she was referring to the telco regulator and the financial bank regulator. And in our principles, or in our what we call the financial inclusion imperative, we make sure that we're not only working to offer the best product fit to our customers, but also making sure that we are abiding by all the rules, listed by the telco regulators and central bank regulators. And we do so by partnering with reputable partners in the market where we operate, both on the bank side and on the mobile network operator side. Thank you, Rena.
Okay, thank you. That's actually a good summary of everything we discussed today, and a good way to wrap things up. And we're running short of time, so we're not going to be able to take additional questions at this point. But it was great to hear your different perspective and see the progress that were made, and that there is a lot of optimism. And the trend are definitely pushing for more and more fintech space success in Africa, and more collaboration within the region, between the region, and between the different actors of the region. So I'd like to sincerely thank you. Perhaps in addition to fintech, we could also develop some of the technology for more virtual connections and virtual events without too much technical issues, but that's another topic. I hope that was not too painful for the audience. And if you had any questions, I think there are one-on-one sessions that you can schedule with any of the speakers, and attend some of the networking sessions that are also monitored through the platform. Thank you so much. And I was here representing a global firm advising tech companies, and so that was a pleasure to discuss with all of you today about the future of fintech and the great progress that were already achieved in Africa. Thank you all very much, and please enjoy the rest of the summit.
Thank you, Rena. Thank you all.
Thank you very much. I will send you the presentation. You can share it with the participants of the FinTech Forum. It highlights our progress in the interoperability project and our challenges and the features of the feature platform. I think it should be interesting for FinTech to have this information.
Yes, please do. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you. Bye.